I was a minute late. I had a suspicion lateness was coming. I apologise. Here I am, and here we are for Katie's Arms, the online pub for everybody. Hello. Hello, waving people. Hello. And thank you so much to everybody for joining. Thanks to everyone who joined us last week after the event online. Our numbers just keep growing. It's a craziness. Hello. hello. And I don't know, it's sort of glorious. There's so many of us now from all over the world joining in. So do say hi from wherever you're from. And how very dare I know. There have been some questions this week of whether I might actually be a man after my Meghan, hello from Hampshire, hello, California, hello, after my Meghan Mandela impression, which kind of has, it's got a lot of views on it, but some people, I guess, lacking any way of criticising me in any other regard, are like, I'm sure that's a man. Is that a transvestite? And the weird thing is, right, if it's me and people are asking if I'm a tranny, that's okay, right? They can say that as if they're mocking me, like, oh, Hopkins, she's a transvestite, ah ha 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 ha. But on their side, if you're trans, we can't say anything. We have to be like, oh, that's what a brave thing, right? But when they're slagging me off and calling me trans, that's a joke to them. So it's like this weird double rule, right? Yes, Meghan, what do we call her? Meghan Mandela. Yeah, because I'm just so... Episode 2, where more people will be telling me just how fabulous I am. And that duties, that comes from a movie. What's my son's favourite movie? Where he's a monk and he has to do duties. But I just love the idea of her talking, I had to do these duties. She is such a knob. I don't think, how could she even hear herself? Like, I don't, and imagine there being the production team that have to put together that podcast with her going, I remember when I was a girl and I was growing up as a girl, and she talks just the same way as Kamala Harris, so the vice president under Biden, who, by the way, is known as Blow, as in, because that's how she became vice president. So if you're not American, I mean, you might know, but like they're known as Sniff and Blow, or at least that's my kind of take on it, or many people's, because he sniffs children's heads. And I know what he's actually smelling. So when Biden sniffs people, he's actually smelling their ear here, because you'll know that ears are oily. This is really, this is a bit So people have really strong scents. Oh, it's made me go a bit gag. My gag reflex is, as I've got older, is not as good, but what Biden is actually doing is smelling behind the ear of people. So when he goes in and sniffs children, he's smelling their ear oil. Oh, God. I just ate a paella as well. Hold on. Wait one, I've got to wash it back down. So, he's known as Sniff because he sniffs the ear oil of small children. And she's known as Blow because, I don't know what that is. It's just my tongue in my cheek, obviously. But because she spent a lot of her early career, without wishing to be libelous, obviously, because it costs me a house every time. But she spent a lot of her early career on her knees, sniffing and blowing her way to the top. But anyway, the point rather being about Kamala. We didn't take Mumsy down. Mumsy's listening. Should we go and get her? Also known as pee pads and knee pads. Exactly. Very good. I love all these names for the idiots running the White House. I say running, fronting up the White House while China runs the show. But anyway, Kamala speaks very much like she's learnt the same scripting as Meghan Mandela. Yeah. So she's like, when I was a girl, I used to say, one day, I want to say to all the little girls out. I remember Kamala on her whole, except all the little girls if you're wondering if one day you could be vice president, yes, you can be vice. And Meghan has got that same thing. I see little girls and they say I'm a real life no, you're not. Fucking trailer trash, babe. And back in the day, she had a really hot figure, right? Because she had like, she was all that black underwear, wasn't it? Like banging up against, I don't know, bookcases in Suits or whatever. There's something on my left nostril. Hold on, is there? Let's do this. Is that better? We don't know. Maybe it could be dinner. It could be any number of things. Just go along with it, darlings. Just check. Look here. Do what we do in the mornings, us girls. Check for beard hair. That's what we do now, isn't it? Go upwards just to check there aren't any spiky hairs. So anyway, Meghan Markle, when she was in Suits, she was a hottie, right? She was skinny, she had boobs, and she had and it was all hottie. Now, it's all here. Did you see in the photo shoot? So what they've done, she's got skinny wrists. This is really bitchy, I know. But oh, golly, look at golly, you're so commenting, and I can't even keep up, and I don't know why it's not keeping up on my little screen. I don't even know how. But anyway, I'd love to ruin you. Would you, darling? Oh, many men have tried and failed. People have those thoughts about me, and they find it really hard though, because like I was supposed to be this like nasty bastard, Nazi bitch, and then it turns out I never was. It was just they had to do that because the stuff I was saying was true 10 years ago that's now really true today. But yet there's this weird sexual undercurrent now that guys are like, I'm freaked out. I'd quite like to bang Katie Hopkins. Anyway, back to Meghan. We call chin hairs straight eyebrows. Yeah. So anyway, so Meghan's got skinny wrists still. You'll know this. I know it. No one talks about it. So we can talk about it here. Drink. Ruin me in a good way. No, I know. I know the sort of ruin you mean. I know. I'm telling you, you'd be frightened. So some of the skills I've picked up over a lifetime of this sort of expertise. 30, well, hold on, let's think. What am I, 47? No, wait, not 40 years. I wasn't banging at the age of 7. 30 odd years, 34 years of rehearsal. You think you would ruin me? No, dear, no. Anyway, I just got another 30-day ban on Facebook for calling Boris a mong. That's just genius. Joe Deacon. They're coming after my stuff now. I can't specifically give you the details right now, but because we're so many, and my social media is now going a little bit crazy, and people are kind of, what were we on before? Twitter, we were 1.4 million, weren't we? But because we're so noisy now, I can feel the vortex of evil, you know, hope not hate, the biggest misnomer. I was going to say misnomer on the planet. I can feel them swirling. We need to shut that bitch down again. So, because Meghan has skinny wrists and ankles, do you see the photo shoot they did? Where basically it's like her with her legs crossed and her arms crossed, but it's basically hiding this. Because Meghan Mandela, oh, God bless, the representative of women of colour who come from caravan sites and are actually trailer trash. She's got a massive, like, gunty midriff. You'll see that's why she's going for these weird little frocks now. This bit is out of control. She's lost control of the middle area of her body, which is fine, like, no problem. I'm just saying it because bitching about her is great. Right, so I got your questions. We're going to do some questions, and we're going to do some more laughing at me, and that's the plan. People are essentially laughing at me. Spaz. Oh, what a great word. We used to do, right, what was this thing that we did, right, which was, why did we do that? Do you remember? So, gunty midriff, there you are. Hashtag Meghan Mandela, hashtag gunty midriff. Just saying. And I speak as someone who had a gunty midriff. Also, we have to talk about my hair and what colour we're going to go to next, because we don't know. But I cannot do highlights at a time when we're having an energy crisis and no one can afford to heat their homes. I cannot spend £100 on being blonde. So I think we're going to have to go mousy, or we're going to go dark just so we can be Meghan Mandela more often. We can talk about that. Yes, oh God, we have so many things to talk about. Look, it's already 8:10 and I just need to focus on doing some things, don't I? More wine for Katie. Yeah, that's the spirit, chaps. Just keep drinking, we'll be fine. Right, so we used to do this. But what was that? We used to go, no, we had to... SPAZ, right? Then we had to... And we don't get to do that anymore. Or like if you were walking away from someone and you were like, and they said something really stupid to you, or like, you know, being a bastard or whatever, you just turn around and go, do you want to do this? And we don't get to, like, kids don't do that anymore. They just go, oh my God, yeah, oh my God. They did. I heard someone in their garden today, some kids, like, I guess teenagers, go, yeah, oh my God, yeah, oh my God. And I was just like, oh, bloody airheads, right? At least we used to just go, moron, exactly. Right, let's talk about some things. Putin, Ukraine. You guys obviously don't even, yay, G&T triples, come on. Don't have to think anything I say is correct. Like, we never have to agree. When people go, I don't always agree with you, it's like, oh yeah, could you tell me, can you show me where I ever asked you to agree with anything I said? So my view is Putin's kind of tough, quite like him. Russians kind of like him, not domestically but internationally, because he's strong. And the BBC are spouting such shite at the moment, like, Putin weaponises gas. No, the G7 just got together, like the small bunch of little gay cockwombles they are, and agreed they would only pay so much for Russian gas, and they won't pay for it in the currency Putin has politely asked for. When I last look at any contractual arrangement, including the ones with our own energy companies, if you said, oh no, fuck it, I'm going to pay in pesos today, and I'm only going to pay you £2.50, not the tenner you've asked for, quite likely at some point we're going to get cut off. I'm going to be cut off soon, no doubt. That's what the G7 have done to Putin, right? No, we're not paying you in the currency you asked for, and we're not paying you what you asked for. And then they're saying, Putin weaponises gas. No, you pissed him off, and he's teaching you, pay me what I asked for in the currency I asked for, or you can do one. And actually, if the whole of you have been dependent on, you know, blowing Putin, best keep blowing the boy, you know? Don't just start trying to make a stand because you're pretending there's some kind of war in Ukraine. Bear in mind, Ukrainian refugees are going back to Ukraine on a holiday to have a break from their British hosts because they're fed up of the nasty bastards because they're being grumpy about how long they're in the shower for. But yes, I'm a Putin fan, and I think all of this war shit has been a complete bollocks. And when have you ever seen someone filming this stuff from their own country and sending the clips out there? You don't. You just see the headlines that are contrived by the media. Whatever, that's fine. I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm trying to share. Russia, if we were in Russia and reporting, which I want to do, and I'm allowed to go to Russia, I'm not even banned from Russia, which is terrific. I've never been deported from Russia either, which is also terrific. One of the countries that's never deported me. So I'd love to just go and show how it is there. But Putin is not the guy he's made out to be. And it's just so, isn't it typical that the headlines on fabrication about Ukraine war comes out on the same day as we're being shafted up the arse on our energy bills. All pantomime, exactly. And we know we're not alone on this way of thinking. We're just not allowed to say it. No one's allowed to hear it. You're not allowed to discuss it. That's when people talk to me about like GB News being the answer to everything. And I'm like, yeah. Where's the honesty on there? Really? But let's not attack our own side. People were asking, why aren't we... I'm not banned from... In fact, I showed the butcher. In our local dairy farm, they have their own butcher counter, and I'm good friends with the lads on the butcher counter because you should always be friends with butchers because, after all, we all need to dispose of bodies. And that was a throwaway line, little joke. All right, Instagram, just a little chat. Anyway, you should always be friends with butchers because they know about getting rid of bodies. But so the lads there, well, number one, was really busy with like tourists and stuff. And the butchers were like, all right, Katie, do you want a bone? I was like, it's like regular people in the shop. I was like, do you mean for my pair of Labrador dogs? Because it sounded like the butchers were just shouting, oi, bitch, do you want a bone? I mean, I wouldn't have minded a bone, actually, in the back with one of them. Another story altogether. What was the subject of this story? Butchers. We were definitely going somewhere with this story. We were going somewhere with the butcher story, and I was, oh yes, he's just got a new tattoo. And so I was updating about my last tattoo, which, as you will know, I don't think I can get it out on here very successfully without flashing my whole arse. No, I'll have to plan this better with an outfit, because as it stands, you're just going to get a massive arse crack shot. And I don't know if all of you signed up for that. And also Mumsy's still on the wall. But many of you will know. So I'm at the butcher's counter. We've had the bone discussion. We're talking tattoos. And then I was telling you about my tattoo. You know I have, or some of you will know. Am I tipsy? No. People ask this every week. This is my first glass of wine. This is how I've always been. Yeah. Which is why when people meet me, they're like, oh, she's really confusing. She's not a complete monster. So the butcher, I was talking to him about my tattoo, and the last tattoo I had, as some of you know, was when they deported me from Australia for basically being in the country in the isolation prison and speaking out against the vaccine mandate and speaking out against the madness of me being allowed in a country where no one else was to do a shitty TV show. And so they deported my arse. And then I popped straight back up in America. And I got deported, tattooed across my arse cheek. So I took my passport with the big deported stamp in it in red. I took it into a tattoo bar in Arizona. And the tattoo parlour was called the Leap of Faith, right? And I love that name because I believe, like, if you just leap, you know, good things happen. Like, I believe our path is already set. So if you just throw yourself to the path, great things happen. So anyway, I go into the Leap of Faith with my passport, and I got the tattoo guy to tattoo deported on my arse. And then he tried to take me out afterwards. Just saying. The arse cheeks, still got it. Add a moderator to your live video. Ooh, I don't know what that means, but I don't think I want to. Does someone want me to moderate something? I don't need to moderate you, do I? If someone's being a twat, just tell them to piss off. I don't know. Right. Why aren't we... I love you. Well, I love you too. What did my husband say? What about my deported tattoo? Well, I don't know. I was 3 months on the road, then I came home, and then he saw it one day. You know, lovely Mark. We love him, but we don't ask him what we can do now, do we? Not about tattoos on arse cheeks. I mean, Jesus, who's going to see my arse apart from him? Well, you know, someone else might get lucky. Why aren't we collectively making a stand? Marry you. I can't marry you. If I marry anyone else, I've been married twice already. If I marry anyone else, it's just, I mean, I'm exhausting. I'm a pain in the arse. I'm really fun to have drinks with, but you don't want to be married to me. I'm so annoying. I hoover the floor at 6 a.m. You know, I'm annoyed. I jiff the shower when I'm in it. I'm annoying. Why aren't we collectively making a stand on energy bills? Okay, here we go. This is where I try and bring people with me normally with the talk, so you would get the preface to this, but just go with me, right? Is that let's imagine together, we can disagree. Let's imagine together that COVID was a rehearsal for how compliant people will be. And let's imagine for a moment COVID was a rehearsal for what tools and techniques work best to control a population. And let's imagine, even if COVID was a genuine flu illness, let's imagine it was an opportunity to try different levers, like as if you were operating a forklift or whatever, or a crane, and you were trying different levers to see which were most effective at controlling an entire population, right? So you had 2.5 years to practice those levers, and some were ineffective and some were very effective, and some science types were more effective because you could tell that through the clicks and the outputs and the engagements, and other scientists were less effective. So you found out, oh, the guy Van Down with a catchy name and a personality, very effective. Oh, the straight up scientist caricature with the slightly Burns victim looks that looks like he's never had sex in his life, very effective. And you learn these things about, oh, we tell people this and we show pictures of this, people respond like this. Essentially, if you gave me an entire kind of suite of options of how to control a population, I got to live test all of those Whitty. Yes, Chris Whitty looked like the guy who fell off the boat in the Falklands. And I don't mean fell off the boat, I mean was blown up and had his face melted off, which was tragic. But Chris Whitty looked like that, but just worse and far less heroic. But anyway, I got to try the whole suite of how to control a population. And what that allowed me to do was bank that knowledge such that when I wanted to employ it again, I knew which levers to pull the quickest. And let me try this on you. And again, remember, you don't have to agree. Just listen to me as if I'm some crazy lady. What we learned with lockdown was when you specifically engage British people, let's go with Brits, right? But Americans, whatever. British people in their own homes, because British people are they have mortgages, they own their own homes, they're very proud of their homes, they look after their homes. When you engage British people in their own homes, they emotionally connect, right? With whatever you're trying to make them engage with. So what did you see when Ukraine was required to be accepted? We need British host families to take Ukrainians into their own homes. We need you to fly the flag, but we need you to take Ukrainians into your homes, because suddenly now, not only are you sold into the whole idea, you become like an advocate to the whole neighbourhood. I've got them in my home, and here's my flag, and here's, Balakashachanka, I don't know what Ukrainian people are called, but you're introducing them, and now they're in the school, and they're doing the school run, and they're coming to you with the store, and the Ukrainian conversation is part of the neighbourhood conversation. That is a key lever that was learnt during the pandemic with stand on your doorstep and clap at the sky. Bring people into your homes, you buy it hook, line and sinker, right? So in my world, pandemic was a test case for how you control people, and we will now see that rolled out in all different guises, including this latest energy contrivance. Because without negative human interference, we wouldn't have any energy issues at all. We'd have all the energy supply we need at a low rate, and we'd be able to afford to live in our own country. But it is through the artificial interference of humans creating huge inflationary pressures and monopoly supply pressures and regulatory pressures and green pressures, right, that we've ended up where we've ended up. It isn't something to do with Putin or some war or any other reason than a human contrivance. Anyway, that was all a bit big, wasn't it, for Katie's Arms? Normally we just take the piss out of my vagina and we're happy with that. But you asked, so I wanted to be straight with you. And one of the challenges I have often with doing short videos, for example, is you're trying to bring lots of that, but like in a short way that's palatable and also relevant to someone's day, or if someone's sitting on the loo having a wee looking at this, you want to bring it straight in, so you don't get to do all the kind of and what about this, and what about this, and what about the macroeconomics. You have to kind of hit it, but it does all make In a perverse world where nothing makes sense, when you understand it as a contrived plan to make the useless eaters live in a small place above travel hubs with a controlled geographical area that you're going to be allowed to function in, that's where we're headed. And of course, somebody asked me about cash. Cash is already gone. I mean, we know it, right? You get out some cash, people look at you like... I like to just get out and sort of oh, here's a dirty £20 note. Let me lick it. Right, so cash is already gone. No kids use cash. And we know that this sort of, we're just in this weird transition. Because what happens, isn't it, is that in life, once people have transitioned, like our kids, an idea of a time before internet, or a time when you had a landline, or a time like in America where people had a shared party line, 4 or 5 families sharing the same telephone line, and you had to ask your neighbour to get off the phone. That seems like madness. This life that we're living, or the life we had a couple of years ago, will seem like madness to young people in generations to come. And that's a really weird thing. We're living through a massive shift in how people are going to live going forwards, unless good wins. And that's what I think happens. And one of the things we learnt and have learnt, and I've learnt for 20 years of being battered, is that even your closest friends will disown you if they can, and I say this without any hint of any kind of upset or malice or vengeance or revenge. Even your closest friends and allies will disown you if they can do what they get to do for one more day. Even people who applauded you, took you out, thanked you for all of the things you did for their company, business, newspaper, will disown you the very next day if it means they get to live for one more day. And that's why, it's really helpful for me, because I've lived it for so long. But it means that, people say, why do people comply? Because they think if they just keep paying their direct debits, they'll be okay. And no one will try and take what they have. And people will self-preserve, even if just for one more day. And that's why you don't see people working together. And that's the great pity. And because people are very unaccepting of risk, because we've been schooled to be low-risk people or risk-averse. And the exciting thing about the time that we're headed into is that when you have a population who lose everything, and I say this having lived amongst largely black populations in downtown areas who have nothing to lose, and fuck me, they're unstoppable. And I kind of admire that element. Once people have nothing to lose, then, only then, do you become an unstoppable force, which is why it's been so easy for me just to blast through all of this stuff, because they took everything once already. So we'll see where this pans out, but I remain relentlessly optimistic because of my experiences, because we are so many. Big statements, Katie. Yeah, I know, right? The stuff we can't say, because who knows? There's somebody I think that's annoying everybody. Let me see what I can do. I don't know if I can see what I think. This is what someone wants me to moderate so that we can get rid of some twat or other. I don't mind at all, but if it's annoying you guys, obviously I don't want you to be annoyed. I love the bit in your book asking permission to do anything. Yes, and so help. So I have to say quick thank yous, and then I promise to go. Thank you for all the support, for all the pins, all the pens, all that. You guys are just like crazy things, and I'm really excited. I'm waiting to see my first Offerty Piss pen, and lovely Mark's got those up on katiesarms.com. But help, hold on, I'm just going to grab it. I do have it here. I know it's up behind me. The reason I actually like this book, as opposed to just being one of those tossers that you hear endlessly on Radio 2. Oh yeah, I'm here about my new book, rah, rah, rah. And the interviewer has to act interested in it when it sounds boring as shit. The good thing about Help, where is Help? Is it there? Yes, Help, yes. Is I think it actually does. It's basically a handbook for now, for surviving this bullshit, and for not coming from the position of asking, am I allowed to, or can I do this, but more, I am going to, and I accept the risk of that, and what's the worst they can do to me. And I think that's increasingly where we have to move to. And for everybody who's prepping in some way or another, storing fuel, storing dry foods, thinking about how they can get power, thinking about generators, I think it's really wise, and I plan to do more in that area soon. And for people who aren't into it, who think it's all crazy and think it's conspiracy theory stuff, that's totally fine as well, because no one's trying to persuade you to do the same, just sharing how we feel and what we're doing or what I'm doing. Great. So everybody, oh yes, so how do you get the help book? So Katie's, K-A-T-I-E-S, arms, Katie's arms, .com. There's a book thing, and you can put like, I'm Jackie, I'm pissed off because I've just got through cancer, I've just been diagnosed with cancer, or I've got 2 months to live. Just tell me something about yourself, and I can write my message to you specifically. And the book does hit some of those things as well. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You say that, you know, but for 25 years I've been battling to try and get that message across. Thank you so much for everybody, for all of the sharing, for pushing my stuff on Twitter and other platforms, for getting involved on Katie's Arms. And 8 days to go until Blackpool. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am to be back live on stage, and offering some moral support to someone that I think has, you know, they always try to make us swing from a tree. And they certainly tried to do that with Mr. Belfield. Love him, hate him, I don't mind what your views are. But, you know, people shouldn't be pushed beyond the limits of human endurance. And every day you don't swing from a tree is an act of defiance. And it's really important you remember that as we head into this winter. I'll be here. Katie's Arms will be here. This family will be here. See you in San Fran. Yes, I will. On the 15th of September at the Italian Athletics Club. I cannot wait. But for the rest of you, we will get through this winter together. You will hold on here. And if you think you're not going to make it, you're going to write to people on here, and they're going to hold on to you. And we will not swing from a tree, because we'll not let the bastards beat us. Okay. Is there going to be a Blackpool after party? Yes, there freaking well is. Okay, I'll see you next week somewhere. And is that Blackpool yet? No, I'll see you next week. And until then, you know, try tomorrow, just find the funny. Laugh, laugh, laugh. Laugh at people that piss you off. Laugh at the madness. Laugh at the bullshit. Laugh at energy providers. Their tiny little lives and their tiny little penises. We're better than all of that lot. Okay, the rest can... You, my darlings, are fabulous. And the rest can offer tea piss. Okay, good night.